His eyes turned darkish shade as he leaned back on his seat, a hand holding the barrel of the gun against his own forehead, casually rubbing it while looking at the man in front of him, still sleeping like he was not making him wait. With a little gesture of his hand, one of his hitmen grabbed a bucket of ice cold water and splashed the whole of it over the sleeping man, which was enough to knock the senses out of him for a moment. He sat up with a long gasp, begging for the air to take its place back within his lungs, yet it was not the real misery he had to see right after he woke up. The actual nightmare was sitting in front of him, with his legs spread in a manly way, a gun resting idly in his hand as if it was begging to release the bullet within it. Jungkook, a pretty good morning. He leaned forward, placing his elbows over his thighs, as his dark eyes almost killed the man right on the spot. Mr. Kim, Kevin. He stayed there observing each change of his reaction from the man in front of him. Now that he knew his real name, now that he knew how he cheated him behind his back, the man knew he was a dead meat, and the dread was visible on his face, which was quite satisfying for Jungkook to watch. Kevin, what are you saying? I'm Park Kwang Dong. He stuttered so badly, receiving a harsh blow in return that almost knocked him back into sleep. Jungkook, I wonder who passed you to work for me. He pulled his hand back after the blow, fixing his cuffs. A man working under me and doesn't even know how to lie. He shook his head in disappointment. A sudden wave of anger rushed through his paw as past memories started encircling his head. Jungkook, leave. And he didn't need to repeat it when the hitman left the room and he was left alone with Kevin right there. Everyone was going back to their homes. The sun set already and the sky started turning to its darkest shades. Wearing a tracksuit, hair tied up in a ponytail, she jogged her way through the park. It was 7 p.m. She had her headphones on, breathing slowly, getting uneven. Heart rate getting high, yet she was still stable, half used to all of this. Ryan, Dion, I said no, and that means no. You know how comfortable it is going to be for me? On a call with her friend, she looked at the track watch on her wrist to count the steps she took till now. Nan, I'll be there with you, right? Ryan, what do I do there, please? She huffed, slowly getting a bit frustrated, but even she was feeling bad at this point, rejecting her friend again and again over the same thing. Nayan, please. Ryan stopped, closing her eyes for a moment, letting out a deep exhale, and agreed to it, saying, Alright, fine, but this time only. Within the next few seconds, the call hung up. Switching back to the music she was listening to, but she didn't feel like listening to it anymore. Taking the headphones off, she looked around her, people minding their own business just like she was a moment ago. A deep sigh escaped her lips as she took a seat on the bench beside her. Neon was all she had. How could she reject her too? She knew Nayan offered her to join her only for her. The two have been together almost since childhood. She was Nayan's senior, who most of the time helped her, and that's how they ended up being friends. She was from a rich family, whereas Ryan belonged to a moderate one. The two parted ways when Nayan got in an expensive university, whereas Ryan was left to get herself educated through online courses. It was going all fine till her parents got into an accident. Her father died in the accident, whereas her mother lost her legs. Now she was left with a mother who couldn't walk and her younger brother. As her mother couldn't walk, she did a bit of work from home, which got her a small amount of pay at the end of the month. The rest was on Ryan, who studied online and was currently doing two part time jobs at the same time to handle all the expenses along with her brother's tuition fee. You alright? A sudden voice brought her out of her thoughts as she looked up to see a man, dressed in an overcoat, holding her headphones, staring back at her. While, oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. She took the headphones from him, giving him a slight book. Must have dropped them without her knowing. She didn't feel like jogging anymore, so she grabbed her jacket, wearing it over, and took off to go back home, not noticing the guy who kept staring at her going away. Her hair once again tied up in a ponytail, a little oversized sweater tucked in her skinny jeans, right from the middle, as she sat there waiting for her friend to go up to the stage and receive her graduation degree. The only reason she didn't want to come here because she knew how rich people must be here, who, according to her, always have their hearts high up in the clouds. She clapped, and a gentle smile took its place on her lips when Neon received her degree and gave a small speech alongside it. As she came back, she was congratulated in a warm way by her boyfriend. Ryan stood behind them after the ceremony ended as they skipped their way through the university. Jaehyun, let's go celebrate, babe. His arm slipped around Neon's waist as he looked behind towards Ryan, then back at Neon. Bring your friend along too, if you want. Ryan, oh, no, no, please. You two can go and celebrate. He refused politely, and to be honest, he wanted to go alone too, but thinking it might be quite rude to leave her alone, he just offered. Ryan took pics of both of them, whereas Neon made sure she didn't feel left out. They were finally walking out of the university. Jaeon, whoa, look who is here! A bright smile appeared on his lips as he reached his Hyung standing against his car. He gave him a slight fist bump happily while the other just gave him a small smile, raising his hand a bit, and that was enough for his driver to walk forward with keys in his hand, handing it over to Jaehyun. Jungkook, congratulations. Jaehyun took it with a huge smile plastered on his face, pressing the button on the key. The black made Lamborghini, parked at a distance, let out a beep. The next moment, his eyes widened even more. His dream car stood right in front of him, all of his. Spoiled. Jungkook spoiled him. He hugged his Hyung, a quick one thanking him before pulling his girlfriend along towards the car, admiring it. Shifting his gaze from Jaehyun to back to Ryan, he extended his hand. Jungkook. She recognized the man. He was the same person from last night who returned her headphones. Giving a polite smile, she took his hand, shaking it. Park Ryan. Jungkook. Since my brother took your friend, let me drive you back home. Ryan. Oh, no, no, that's fine. I was going to take the bus anyways. She didn't even realize her hand was still in his. He took the time admiring her features while feeling her so close to him. He was there when his eyes fell on her jogging yesterday, while talking to someone in her own world. The moment she caught his eyes, he automatically felt himself attracted towards her. A sudden fire sparked within him to make her his. Within an hour, her whole life history was in front of him, which took him no time to remember. Pulling his hand back, he opened his car door, taking a step away for her to sit in. I insist. Not knowing how to reject that, she bowed slightly in front of the man and sat in the car. A mysterious smirk appeared on his lips as he walked over to the side, taking a seat in beside her on the back seat as his driver opened the car door for him. One, isn't it a coincidence? We just met yesterday, and today again. She gave the driver her address and turned towards Cook, a bit to have a little talk. Jungkook, I call it fate. Do you believe in that? Why, not really. I guess we humans write our fates inside. Whatever happens is the result of our own decision. Jungkook, it's always fate's play. It makes the situation, then leave it on you to do however you wish. He leaned back, a dark flare orbiting his eyes as he tried to keep a control of his desires, the guilty desires to have her right underneath him. We met by fate. Now, however make you mine will be my decision. Silence took over the car for a few moments before she shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Please stop the car. I'll take the bus from here. Jungkook squinted his eyes, noticing her stuttering suddenly. She was okay a moment ago. As he looked at her, she instantly moved back in the seat shifting away from him. It didn't take a genius to tell him she saw the gun tucked in the gun holder around his waist. Jungkook, Miss Wyan, calm down. Wyan, no. Please ask your driver to stop the car. Let's not meet again. She tried opening the door even if the car was still moving. It was locked. His eyes darkened when she said never meet again. This was not happening. He was not letting the fear settle in her heart. Jungkook, I'm not going to hurt you. Try to calm down. It's just for security. Wyan, then why are you not stopping the car? I'm not comfortable. Please stop. She yelled out of her panic state. Who wouldn't panic seeing a gun? Keeping guns was not allowed in South Korea, even if it was for security. He closed his eyes, getting frustrated over her continuous tries to run away from him. Turn the car. Drive to my mansion. The driver obliqued, taking a U turn, now driving to Jungkook's place. Her eyes widened as she panicked even more, taking out her cell phone with shaking hands. One. Look, I will call the police. Letting out a chuckle, Jungkook snatched the phone out of her hands, throwing it on the front passenger seat. She instantly tried getting up to take her phone. Her heart started hammering inside her rib cage out of fear. Jungkook took her wrist, pinning her against the seat with his hands on either side of her. He was close, too close to her. Jungkook, Miss Ryan, how about you calm down and listen to me? I won't hurt you. Why? Because I like you. I liked you the very first time I saw you. How about you stay calm and let me show it to you? Regardless of how calm his words sounded, the dark gleam reflecting his brown orbs was too scary. It was frightening the hell out of her. Jungkook, stop pushing me away. I'll be nice. I'll treat you like a princess. The rest is on you. His eyes shifted from her eyes to her lips, then down to her neck as he leaned forward, nuzzling his nose against her neck. A silent chuckle escaped his lips as he could feel how her breath got out of control. She moved her hands out of his grip, pushing him away. The only difference was he didn't move a bit. Wine, let me go. I don't want to, just let me go. She struggled even more, trying to push him away. He stayed there, glaring straight in her eyes, digging holes. He pulled away, running a hand through his hair, frustrated. Jungkook, how long? The driver along Ryan flinched when he took out his gun, placing it on driver's shoulder. Driver, 3 minutes, sir. Jungkook, 3 minutes you call it. He pressed the gun's barrel more against the driver's shoulder, who increased the car's speed, dodging the vehicles on his way. Out of fear, Vine took a strong hold of the handle, trying to keep herself steady. Vine, please stop the car. Let me go. She let out a crying yell, fear getting the best of her. Ignoring her cries, they reached his place. Junko simply got out of the car, grabbing Vine by her wrist, picking her up, taking her inside as she kept trying to free herself from his strong grip. Lady, we are talking about Jungkook here. He was much stronger than her. She stood no chance in front of him. He walked straight to his room, shutting the door closed behind him using his foot. Putting her down, he instantly pinned her against the door, which she tried to escape him again. Jungkook, calm down, will you? I'm trying not to hurt you. Doing this will not help you, so please, calm down. He moved backwards, maintaining a good distance between them, to let her calm down. As long as she was not screaming and at least listening to him, he was fine. Ryan, this is kidnapping. I'll tell the police. Once she calmed down, she still had tears in the corner of her eyes. hands flat on the door beside her, wanted to walk past the door and run away. She said her words ever so innocently, which brought a genuine laugh to broke out of his lips. Jungkook, you're cute too. I see. Why? I'm being serious. Let me go, my family must be waiting. Jungkook, why? He sighed, taking a step forward. I didn't mean to bring you here like this. What's wrong in trying? Give me a chance, I will give you so much love. Why? Why do you have a gun? Who are you? Jungkook, if I say the truth, will you reject? Why? I didn't accept yet though. She hiccuped, pushing herself more in the door. Jungkook, why are you stuttering? Don't be scared, I won't hurt you. Why? You brought me here without my consent. It's already scary, please let me go. She begged, reaching her hand towards the door handle, trying to open the door, yet it was locked. He closed his eyes out of frustration. There was something that made him so mad whenever she tried running away from him, even after he was trying to convince her so much in a nice way. Jungkook, why? His hands landed on the door beside her, creating a loud thud. Will you give me a chance when I'm being nice? Why? Please, she whispered back again, closing her eyes, moving her face away from him, slowly not wanting to make him more angry. Everything about his dark eyes was so dreadful. Whenever he was near, she felt shivers running down her spine. Jungkook, then stay here. His hand gripped a hold of her jaw, making her face him. Stay here till you accept me. Pulling his hand back, he leaned forward, planting a kiss beside her lips before leaving her there going to washroom. She panted heavily, turning around instantly, trying to open the door. It went all in vain. Taking a quick look around the room, she spotted a glass door which led to the terrace. She gulped her fear down, walking towards it, while looking towards the washroom again and again, in case he's come home. She tried opening the glass door with all her might, however, it went useless, earning a defeated cry from her. This was wrong. She couldn't stay here. She had a disabled mom and a younger brother to support. He came out of the restroom and he had his suit changed into casual clothes, which enhanced his features even more. Jungkook tried all the means to escape. He asked so casually as if he knew what she might be doing. Why? Why are you doing this to me? Jungkook, I asked you nicely though. Wouldn't it be too hard that way? The choice is yours. Why? You didn't give me any choices, General. You are forcing me to accept you. Jungkook, oh here? What's wrong in that? What's so hard in letting me have a chance? What is it that you want and I don't have? She let out a defeated sigh. He was not getting it. No matter how handsome and ethereal he actually was, he didn't give good person vibes at all. It constantly roamed around her brain how he had a gun, not to forget the luxurious cars in this huge ass mansion. She never wanted to indulge herself into this much rich people. She was right about them. They always had their head high up in the clouds, thinking they can have whatever they want in their lives. Brian, I don't want anything from you. Why is it so hard for you to understand? Jungkook, god damn it. Why is it so hard for you to understand her? I love you so much. Even if you don't do it with your consent, I'll do it by hook or by crook. He took a few steps towards her, but her sudden move stopped him. She crawled back on the couch instantly, holding a hand out to stop him. Her little move reflected how much scared she was of him. A part of him was hurt. Another part of him got so furious over the fact. Rolling his eyes, he took a seat on the couch in front of her, taking her wrist, pulling it with enough force to move her body near him. A yelp escaped her lips when his hands found his way around her waist, locking her in place. Jungkook, love, why can't you see? I'm trying to be nice here. He rolled a strand of hair around his finger while admiring her features. He fell head over heels for her. Vian, please, don't hurt me. Jungkook told you, if you cooperate, I won't. I don't like hurting you either. Vian, what do you want from me? I want you, only you. His hand found its way to her cheek while closing the distance between them. The more closer he got, the more intimidating it got between them. His eyes landed on her plum lips, as hungry as he wanted to devour them, and kiss the life out of her. The tears staining down her cheeks stopped him. Leaning in, he kissed the tears on her cheeks in a love yet sensual manner, feeling her body tensing. Trailing his kisses down her cheek, he kissed beside her lips, then her jaw. Relax. As I said, I won't hurt you. I really did fall for you, so it's better if you give me a chance yourself. With that, he stood up, leaving the room, not before saying, I have some work to finish. Once she was left alone, she was finally able to breathe properly, not realizing she was holding her breath for that long. Wiping her cheeks, she stood up, looking for ways to escape once again. There was nothing she could try to escape. Feeling defeated, she sat back down. Should she really give him a chance? If he really did kidnap her, he didn't once touch her wrongly, which was her biggest fear as soon as he brought her here forcefully. She stayed there for the next few hours. No one came in or opened the door. Gathering courage once again, she stood up, picking up a chair from side. It took all of her courage to pull the move. Walking near the glass that could lead to terrace, she hit the chair with so much force on the glass, closing her eyes next moment, waiting for the impact. Nothing happened. No sound of glass breaking either. When she opened her eyes, the glass stood there on its place, without a single crack. Vian. Huh! It made her furious. Was her strength not enough? She pulled the chair back again and hit it once more, however, the glass had no effect on it. She flinched when she heard someone clearing their throat and turned around to find Jungkook standing against a door frame with his arms crossed, watching her with so much amusement filling his eyes. She instantly turned back around, hitting the glass again and again, just to realize at the end it was unbreakable. Letting out a loud whine, she tossed the chair away, walking back to couch, plopping down on it. What do he think of himself? Is he a president or something? He need that much security? Who install a freaking unbreakable glass in homes? How annoying. Jungkook. Oops, someone's angry. Should I be scared? Vian, don't talk to me, she said, crossing her arms, turning her back towards him. Her move somehow reflected she was not afraid of him anymore. Jungkook, can't do that, love. He came forward, taking a seat in front of her again. So, what did you thought? Wine, you won't let me go otherwise. He simply shook his head, eyes reflecting determination. Wine, I will give you a chance. If you tell me honestly who you are and what you do. Jungkook, tomorrow, baby girl. A smirk appeared on his lips when she accepted him. He leaned forward to grab a hold of her, yet she moved back instantly. Wine. No. First tell me, who are you? Jungkook, you already accepted me, love. You stand no chance to refuse later. Remember that. He stood up, walking over to the nightstand, taking out his gun from the drawer. Walking back towards Wine, he sat way too close to her, ending the distance between the two. The more she tried leaning backwards, there was no space left. He hovered above her, as her head rested on the couch armrest. He moved the barrel of the gun near her earring, a scared yelp from her. A dark chuckle escaped his lips while he stared at her so intensely. Ever heard of JK? I'm pretty sure every single soul living in this country have heard of him. That's me, JK, the one who ruled the dark world. The way her eyes shot open at the confession told him she knew who he was. That's what his power was. Everyone was scared of him. Jungkook, too much. I'm capable of too much wine. So if I'm willing to treat you nicely just because I fell for you, then let me. Don't provoke my dark side. He tossed his gun away, caressing her cheek, his eyes softening at her scared look. Jungkook, let me treat you like my queen. I'll protect you. Ryan, I'm giving you a chance. Don't make me regret it. I'm already living a hard life. Don't make it even hard for me. A wave of happiness rushed through his veins as he placed his lips on hers the next moment. It was quite sudden for her, yet she composed herself and went along with the flow. He waited for this too much. He was just glad his patience didn't run out and he was doing it with her consent. As much as he tried to keep it soft, his inner self kept provoking him. It was just not satisfying to him. He had to remind himself that she was his now. Pulling away, he sat up, helping her straighten up too, wiping her tears. Why are you that scared? It didn't even hurt you. Ryan, I'm supposed to be scared. Do you just see your first impression? You just kidnapped me. You keep a gun with you, and now you are JK. Like JK, everyone is damn about you. He didn't really show any reaction to that. He was deadly. He was much more brutal than anyone could imagine, and he knew it. It always satisfied him, hearing such things. Jungkook, shit happens in life. If I had a normal life, what do you think I would be like this? Life made me a monster, taking my parents away from me, leaving me all to myself, and Jihyun, I had to raise him. Dad's brother, who was always around him, he just snatched all of my dad's property and threw us on streets. Jungkook, I had to raise my brother. I lost my childhood, but I wanted to give Jaehyun everything, every luxury of life, and so I chose this life. The reason I'm telling you this is because I'm really serious about you, or else you would never hear such thing from me. Ryan, I'm sorry to hear that. Jungkook, you don't have to. Life wasn't good to you either. Just keep your words and don't step back. Ryan, I won't. I mean it. He pulled her on his lap, closing the distance between the two once again. His hand slid through the locks of her hair, staring deeply in her eyes. This time, she gave in too, resting her hands on his chest, gripping the fabric of his shirt in her fist. The two kissed again, welcoming the future in each other's embrace.